We believe that investigating and communicating the subject can help pull people of all nations together.
Look at this thing. It's rotating.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
You have to ask yourself, is it ET or is it Independence Day? You know, what's the intent? And right now, we don't know.
Hey, Ryan, how are you? I'm Lou. Nice to meet you.
Lou.
It's taken weeks of negotiating to convince the pilot to talk.
Go ahead. Let's start from the beginning.
Well, simply put, I don't really know where the beginning is.
Active duty Navy pilot Lieutenant Ryan Graves says a fleet of UFOs followed his carrier from the summer of 2014 into 2015 off the East Coast.
It's hard to find a prosaic explanation for a carrier battle group being shadowed by unidentified aircraft all the way across the Atlantic to an area of operations overseas in the Middle East. It makes an extremely compelling case for the existence of technologies that we didn't even think were possible.
The pilots wondered if their new radar system was malfunctioning until they saw one of the unidentified objects up close.
It was basically a cube with inside of a sphere where the points of the cube were touching outside of the sphere.
We've got now two different things. You guys got cubes with balls. Around the West Coast, we got flying Tic Tacs.
And wherever we were, they were there. So that could mean two things. That could mean they were already there, or they were following the strike group.
By 2015, Lieutenant Graves claims his pilots were encountering bizarre craft almost every time they flew.
You know, it's one thing if one person sees one of these objects, they're like, okay, that's crazy. When you go out there every day, and you see them, and your brothers and sisters and other squadrons are seeing them. And it wasn't until someone actually saw one go in between two aircraft at a close range, probably within 150 feet, that it was starting to get worrisome.
Without telling you anything about it, I'm going to be curious your thoughts, and you can tell me what you see.
For the first time, a pilot has confirmed that the two unidentified videos, Gimbal and Go Fast, were taken by Navy jets from the Theodore Roosevelt.
These objects kind of came with us.
Lieutenant Graves says both Gimbal and Go Fast were filmed within weeks of each other over the Atlantic off Jacksonville, Florida.
This is important. Now we're looking at something that can stay stationary over a geographic point in 120 knots of wind.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Can rotate around and then can accelerate above supersonic.
But what happened in the months following would raise the stakes even higher. In March 2015, the Theodore Roosevelt was deployed to the Arabian Gulf, when suddenly, Lieutenant Graves says the UFOs reappeared.
We did have issues with them when we actually went out to the Middle East. Not in the transit, but once we actually settled out into the Middle East.
You had been hearing for a while rumors that there was a potential attack on an Italian aircraft.
Italy is one of the few nations that openly investigates UFOs.
Every government wants to keep extremely secret any information.
Clarbruno Verduccio is a scientist.
So I know several information, but my government don't want to know. Because if my government know, they must do something.
We assembled more than 13,000 cases during the last 70 years, and we have a database. Unfortunately, if this is not shared with other people outside Italy, it's useless.
On 2004 in Sicily, a craft appeared a few hundred of meters behind the copter tail, and it shot a ray that destroyed helicopter wings. I can show you the photograph.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
This was the only helicopter in the airspace on a secret mission to actually investigate the UAP phenomena off the coast of that island, and it gets zapped. And there's several pictures from different cameras on the island of the same helicopter and a UAP following it.
Bruno Verdruccio was a commander in the Italian military's equivalent of the U.S. Navy SEALs. He's describing a harrowing 2004 encounter between one of his military helicopters and a UFO.
We can't use missiles against this device. So, you know, we can launch missile, or the missile will be sent back.
Wait a minute, Retro Gang. Did he just say if we shoot a missile at the aliens, that they will send the missile back?
So this was deliberate. You believe that it was a deliberate...
In that case,
Assolutamente.
yes.
Venga, venga.
In 2004, a series of spontaneous fires broke out across northern Sicily, destroying homes and forcing evacuations. The Italian military sent a helicopter to investigate. Officials say the copter was chased by a saucer-shaped UFO that shot a powerful electromagnetic beam at its rotor.
It was a beam.
The helicopter was severely damaged, but able to land. The incident was photographed by a local resident. Locals had also reported seeing mysterious lights over the sea. For months, the military investigators were baffled, but they were able to piece together a few key details.
This signal was absolutely directional. It was a beam.
The Italians say the spontaneous fires in northern Sicily were also caused by an electromagnetic beam, which they say came from the ocean.
So the target was found at a distance of around 80 kilometers. And the source was in the open sea.
Do we have an altitude?
It was not visible.
Because it was in the bottom of the sea.
Allegedly, this is not the first time someone said UFOs emerged from the sea.
Surprisingly, some of these courageous individuals had their findings deliberately concealed by those in power. One such explorer, who had an extraordinary tale to tell, was Rear Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd. Evelyn Byrd was a distinguished naval commander and explorer hailing from the United States. He was not only an exceptional aviator, but also a trailblazing pioneer in polar exploration and an ingenious organizer of polar logistics. His extraordinary feats were rightly acknowledged with the Medal of Honor, the highest accolade for bravery bestowed by the United States. Byrd encountered a different enemy with amazing flying objects. These mysterious objects could travel long distances and move quickly between the poles. In the Weddell Sea, a dangerous battle took place for about 20 minutes. The unidentified craft emerged from the water and attacked Byrd's group, resulting in many injuries and deaths.
Elizondo has heard reports of UFOs in the ocean before.
Luces que están bajo el agua y de repente se clavó en el agua.
In the water.
Su una certa banda di frequenza noi li potevamo vedere. E che poi avevamo scoperto che quando loro usano le loro armi ad energia, they must go outside the stealth mode.
Li vediamo.
Solo in quel momento noi li possiamo colpire with depleted uranium weapons. And now, what you say to me? You could use the same frequency to provide a radio beacon to call them first.
To attract them.
To show them that we have understood their technology. Yeah.
Communication. We believe that investigating and communicating the subject can help pull people of all nations together.
It's rotating.